sort of short videos that are related to more than just the Genius technology. And I think you'll really like the education that you can get, a lot of free content on there. Thank you again so much for joining me today. And we will be on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. Tuesdays at 12 o'clock, it's going to be Pacific time, and then 3 o'clock Eastern time for at least the next few weeks. All right, good, good, good. We're on YouTube, so if you need to jump off the meeting and come on to YouTube, you can do that there. And we're going to talk about heart health in just a moment. Any volunteers, somebody who wants me to work on their heart and maybe receive some quantum capsule frequencies, you can volunteer by putting your date of birth into the chat. Thank you again so much for joining me. You figured out to get here at the right time on the right day, so it's very, very nice. And Lorraine, I'm so glad that you're here today. It's always nice to have you joining us, so great. Okay, so now Library Discount Club members, thank you for being a part of the Library Discount Club. If you are, we really, really appreciate it. It helps to support the other work that we're doing here as well. And the Library Discount Club is getting a library that we're going to look at in a little bit, which is all about, it's related to the myocarditis issue that we're having, but it's also about thinning the blood, looking at the blood and the circulation as more than just a pump. And it's a really interesting library. We're going to look at it, and anybody who wants to volunteer, we can test you with that library. So that one is a free one, and then it'll be for the Library Discount Club, and then it'll be available for everybody. It'll be posted on the website to be for sale with the 40% off. So we do have 40% off all heart libraries. It's also going to be 40% off the training that we have on heart health. So we're going to look for that at geniusbiofeedback.com and in our follow-up email for this week. But so glad you're joining us. So glad that you're here. And one of the greatest privileges that I had as a naturopathic medical student, I went to an in-person medical school where I went to school for about 40 hours a week, every day, 5 days a week for 4 years. And I was able to study all kinds of wonderful things like anatomy, physiology, microbiology, interpreting labs, learning about herbs, learning about homeopathy, learning about diet, learning even about manipulating the spine. We learn even chiropractic adjustments in my school. And along the way, I got to really learn the physiology well. In fact, I taught physiology at a massage school for about 5 years, and that really even strengthened my understanding further. I think every person should have the ability to really learn the physiological function of the body, because if you can understand physiology and how the body works when it's working correctly, you can really understand pathology, what happens when the body breaks down. And in my opinion, you could actually take much better care of yourself by understanding the basics of the body, how it works, than how you're harming yourself, whether it be alcohol or smoking related to the lungs, alcohol related to the liver. And as I talk about a lot, and we talk about in the Detox and Nourish class, that if you're part of that, we really talk about how the rich Western diet, and particularly the high-fat diet, really damages the internal lining of our vessels called the endothelial lining. And we are really drawn to fat. Any food that's fat, or some walnuts or avocado, we're kind of naturally drawn to them because they stimulate dopamine in our brain. So when we talk about avoiding them, sometimes it upsets people, but it's really the foods that give us glucose, that is the starches, that really nourish our body and protect our vessels. And we can feel really, really full and satiated on starches. We actually went over some evidence of that, why it's actually starch that satiates you and not fat. Fat does not satisfy your hunger mechanism. Really interestingly enough, it doesn't really impact it as much as you would think, maybe just in the moment, but then you'll still be hungry, eat some Chinese food and be hungry an hour later, you get that kind of effect. So all that being said, circulation is one of the most important things that you could ever focus on. So the practitioner hour is on hiatus, Araya. Thank you so much for asking about it. We're just taking a break on that as we kind of recalibrate and get some new content uploaded. So thanks for asking, but we are here now on Tuesdays at this time. I'll keep you updated on any new programs. So the amazing thing to know about the heart that is really super, thrilling to learn is it's not just a pump. So as you can imagine, what the heart is something very physiological, but of course we talk about the heart related to love, and we talk about the heart chakra. And so there's a great energy around your heart. The electrical field around your heart is much greater than the electrical field around your brain. And it does not just function as a pump. It is a series of vortexes, or it's proper to say vortices. So you have all these energy centers around your body in a similar way that we have energy centers all over the planet. We have all these energy centers in your body, and they're working in this coordinated effort to move the blood around your body. So the vessels have to be clear. The vessels have to be able to produce enough nitric oxide. And if you eat a diet that is very rich in fat, you will damage that ability to produce nitric oxide. You can watch the work of Caldwell Esselstyn, and you can just look for his work online, free YouTube videos, and look up preventing and reversing heart disease. And so he found that, he says, anything with a mother or a face, anything that's based from, meat, flesh, fish, all of those things, and free oils. So you can look up a video for him called No Oil, where he talks about how oil impedes the ability for this flow through the vessels. The greatest and richest thing you could ever try to cultivate for yourself is good circulation through your vessels. And you want to almost be asking in a protective way, if you can imagine the inner lining of your vessels, what is the most skillful or strategic thing that I can do to protect the lining of the vessels and make sure that there's always good perfusion to my brain, to my kidneys, to my eyes. And if you want to look youthful for a long time, even to your skin. So if you're able to preserve the vessels, you'll always have good perfusion to the skin, and you'll look young for a long time. You won't have cold hands and feet. You'll have good circulation. That's what you get. Now, there's another aspect of this, which is the energetic aspect, which is allowing all of the energy to flow from your heart. The energy that is being generated in your heart, which is about heart coherence, is leading the energy for your entire body. So your entire body, if your heart is in the right vibrational state, then all the organs of the body fall into line of whatever the vibration is of the heart. So one of the ways that you have control over that is through meditation and breathing techniques. So if you learn, and this comes from the field of heart math, so you can learn from heart math, basically a way of breathing, a way of meditating, that is going to change your autonomic nervous system to one that is more parasympathetic. And it turns out that there's great evidence that a nervous system issue is also contributing to the tendency to have a heart attack or stroke or some type of ischemic event. So if you can learn to do some meditation and breathing exercises and also cultivate some forgiveness and love in your heart, that will change the energy of the heart to make it go into a state of coherence, which is balance, which is optimal flow, which is the optimal physiological function. When you're in that state, then all the other organs will fall in line and you'll be much healthier. So it's really about what the inner lining of your vessels looks like, and also what does your nervous system look like. If you're angry, you're resentful, you can't forgive, you're not in this, you're not centered in your heart, then you're probably breathing irregularly, and you're probably your nerves are jangled, you're more in sympathetic fight or flight. And so that's going to really impede the proper flow from your heart and the proper vibration in your heart. So there's no way from a physics perspective that the heart could be only a pump. The capacity of this pump in your heart does not have the ability to send that circulation all the way to the tiniest capillaries. So there's a vortex, a series of energetic centers that are also at play, helping this blood to circulate to the smallest and tiniest vessels. So when you're looking at the heart, and we do just talk about the physiology of the heart as a pump, it's a really interesting mechanism in and of itself, even if it is not responsible for all perfusion. And it has two different main parts of the heart, the left and right side of the heart. And it has 4 chambers. And it's really interesting. Like, I was fascinated to learn about this. Like, every day you've got a constant exchange between your heart and your lungs. If you look into the chest cavity, it's amazing. Like, your lungs hug around the heart, and they have to be situated, basically see this here. You can imagine the lungs sort of around the heart. They have to be located in that proximity because you're constantly sending deoxygenated blood to the lungs, And from the lungs, every time you take a breath, you're sending oxygenated blood back to the heart. And it literally gets circulated through these vessels. And as you can see, this says to the lungs. So you're going to take this deoxygenated blood and send it back to the lungs. And once you breathe and you put the oxygen into the blood, it comes back into the heart through the left atrium and the left ventricle. And you have all this oxygenated blood, and eventually gets circulated into the aorta. And from there, it's like a tree. It branches out to all these other little branches, which are the arteries and arterioles, in order to bring oxygen, glucose, and other nutrition all the way to the tiniest capillaries, which are, down in your toes or in your kidneys or in your eyes or in your brain. Like, that is an amazing mechanism that is at work. Like, the entire time you're alive, that mechanism is at work and never takes a break. It's kind of amazing. And then so these four chambers are kind of fascinating. The way that they work is when blood comes in from the lungs, simultaneously you have deoxygenated blood coming into the right side of the heart. So when they talk about heart failure, sometimes they talk about a left ventricular assist device, or they'll say that the main problem is in the left ventricle, because that's the most powerful part of the heart for sending new oxygenated blood to the rest of your body. And the right is, it's not that it's not as important, but it doesn't need the same strength. So if you had a heart attack on the right side of your heart, God forbid, you would be in a better shape than if you had damage to the left side of your heart, where you really need a lot of ability to push that blood up into the aorta in order to send it around the body. So what's really fascinating is that with every heartbeat, you're filling the two sides of the heart. The left, all the blood is coming back from the lungs into the left part, and all the deoxygenated blood is going to come from the rest of the body. It's being sent from your venous system. All the veins are now sending it into that part of the heart, and it's getting delivered to the right side of the heart. And then you're going to take this breath, and then you're going to have a heartbeat. And as the heart beats, all of these chambers close and they build pressure. So you have all these little floppy valves. Have you ever heard of a mitral valve prolapse? You have 4 valves around the heart, and they keep the patency of the heart. They help that pump to keep the pressure. And so the heart closes, the blood flows in, and then these valves close. And for a short period of time, there's a building of pressure in the heart. And so while these valves are closed, the pressure builds inside the heart until it's able to overcome and open up these vessels and then send the blood to the respective area. From the right, it's going back to the lungs, and from the left, it's going out to the body. It's a kind of an amazing thing. And when you listen to the heart, what have you ever heard when you listen to a heartbeat? Have you ever wondered what's going on with that? It's not like the heart itself that's making a noise per se. It's the sound of the valves closing. And so you have this lub-dub, and then you have a resting time, and then you have the opening of the valves and the blood moving. So there's this resting part, and then lub-dub, and then the valves close again. So it's really fascinating that we kind of go through life and maybe never even know what that is all about, why we're having pressure build, what those sounds are. So it's kind of fascinating to learn about them. And there is a big electrical flow, sort of an electrical system going through your heart. In fact, you have something called the SA node, the sinoatrial node, which is firing off an electrical potential or an electrical signal. And then very rapidly, because of the mitochondria within the heart, you're having an amazing transmission of all the electrical flow through the body, through the heart at this time. And so immediately your body is getting this electrical flow. So there's a lot of energy, right? There's a lot of electrical energy being produced by the heart. Now, what is dictating what that electrical energy is? If that electrical energy is good, it has to do with your electrolytes, but also, again, has to do with your current state of mind. Your current state of mind, how you're breathing, how stressed you are, this is all influencing all the different aspects of your heart and how well it's working. Now, having excess stimulants in your diet, but it's more related to people really overuse whether it be energy drinks, and it more relates to people who do cocaine and things like that, you can do damage to the actual flaps, which are the valves of the heart, and that can lead to mitral valve prolapse and other issues. Other than that, your valves should stay healthy for the rest of your life. All right, so we know the heart as being a pump. And again, if anybody wants to volunteer to have some frequencies sent to them, the reason I talk so much about physiology is because you are a director of energy. And if you can understand how the body works, you will know where to send the energy as a biofeedback practitioner. And I think that's missing from a lot of biofeedback software, from all the software that people are using. They don't really know why these things are coming up or why they're sending energy there. So the heart beats regularly, it sends blood all over the body, it brings oxygen and nutrition, and each cell in the tiniest of capillaries has to be reached. But the heart is like the whole body is an incredible mystery. It's absolutely amazing. So the heart is surrounded by a toroidal field, which has been called that field of self-perpetuating energy, or some call it free energy. This field is stronger than the field around the brain, and it creates coherence within the body. Meditation improves this heart rate and raises the energy of the toroidal field. So it is really, really fascinating. And Leonardo da Vinci wrote about this. This is some of his drawings. He wrote about this field and understood, look at all ignore this, but look at all the swirls kind of through here. This is the vortices that he's describing within the chamber of the heart. Okay, so this is Leonardo da Vinci's depiction of the aortic valve vortices in the left side of the heart. Now you know, you're smart enough to know which is the more important heart to have function, to be really strong. The left side of that heart, because it sends all the oxygenated blood returned from the lungs into the rest of the body. Okay, so he's showing this really, really interesting velocity vectors. In B, we're seeing velocity vectors from an MRI in the left ventricular outflow tract, again showing vortices in the sinus. So somehow this is also, oh, you could kind of see this, maybe this is a vortex right there. And he's drawing the pictures to represent the energetic flow inside the heart itself. So even Leonardo da Vinci understood this. And some more of his pictures. And this is an MRI showing, I mean, I don't know if he was channeling information or how he figured this out, but this is MRI imaging, and this is his actual drawing. And then Rudolf Steiner, wow, if you want to learn something about the body and how the body works, read the works of Rudolf Steiner and his anthroposophical medicine. It's a little hard to get through and interpret, but it's really worth it. In 1932, Bremer of Harvard filled the blood of a very early embryo circulating in a self-propelled mode in spiraling streams before the heart was functioning. So before you're ever a person or a being, you're like this swirling energy, sort of like the whirling dervishes that talk about, you know, Rumi and all of those, the great dancers showing that really spiritual energy. We are that spiral energy. Think about the DNA as a spiral as well. So our energy spirals down, and the heart maintains this sort of the vortex within the heart. So some greater force, which is said to be love, or being connected to the love within you or the love that you have for other people, is in some ways a more sustaining force than the physiological apparatus of the heart itself. Okay, in terms of capillary flow, the heart is forcing blood with a viscosity 5 times greater than water, which is kind of amazing. So 5 times greater than water through millions of capillaries with diameters often smaller than the red blood cells themselves. Is this possible with just a pump? It's something so much greater than we understand, and yet we don't really question it every day. Even those who are in the medical profession, they don't really understand. This is a strange paradox about the heart that doesn't really make sense in terms of physics. So the whole heart is a series of vortices, and the vortex pulses radially and longitudinally, and so the blood has its own momentum, which is boosted by the heart. Okay, when the heart begins to function, it enhances the blood's momentum with spiraling impulses. That's really interesting to think about the 5 Tibetan rites of longevity. The first one is spinning. And then you have those whirling dervishes, they're doing spinning. There's something about sort of mimicking that motion in yourself and spinning that somehow maybe resets or restores the vortices. Arteries provide assistance by providing spiraling boosts to circulating blood, and arteries dilate to receive incoming blood and deliver an impulse. So this whole thing is energetic. And a lot of it is based on us focusing on our heart, being in a state of forgiveness, being in a state of giving, being in a state of being open to loving other people, and also focusing on either breathing techniques that help us to get into a centered state and or meditation or a combination of both. Those are some of the best things we can do for the heart, in addition to the food plan that I've described that protects the vessels of the heart. The heart's electrical field is 60 times greater in amplitude than the electricity generated around the brain. So if the great creator like created our heart with a greater electrical field and electrical activity, what is that in comparison, 60x in comparison to the brain? What does that tell you about the electrical field compared to the brain, the importance of that heart compared to the brain? So we're much better guided by our heart than our brain. Our heart has maybe a greater brain capacity than the cognitive brain itself. Now, of course, when we use both together, it's a good thing. Magnetic fields produced by the heart are 5,000 times greater in strength than the field generated by the heart. So when you feel something or you wish for something and you're manifesting it from the heart, there's a lot more capacity because all this electrical energy to make it manifest versus just what you're thinking about that you should have or that you should do. Okay, the electromagnetics of the heart envelops every cell of the human body and extends out in all directions. So again, the really cool discovery from heart math was that when your heart is in a certain vibration, let's say it's a very balanced and peaceful vibration, it's like the conductor, and all the other instruments, the liver, the pancreas, they all fall into, through entrainment, that energy, the same vibration of the heart. Okay, and we kind of talked about this in the beginning, just another fun look at the heart. So here's that, I won't take too long on this. Here's the SA node, which is the electrical force that runs all throughout your heart. You have tons of mitochondria in the heart. And one thing that's important for the mitochondria is coenzyme Q10, which, by the way, you can get in potatoes. And if you took my Detox and Nourish class, you can still join. We talk a lot about the power of potatoes to give you nourishment and to help your body. And those potatoes contain coenzyme Q10. So you have to have nutrition in your body that helps your mitochondria. That is really important. And the point I wanted to make about that is that statins are known to decrease coenzyme Q10, which is essential for the mitochondria. And where do you have the richest amount of mitochondria? In your heart. So you have a lot of, the heart muscle takes a lot of energy, right? It takes a lot of energy to keep this heart beating. You get energy mostly from glucose. So eat starches, they give you glucose, and then you'll have a functioning, really healthy heart. So just another look here with that atrium, the left side of the heart, the right side of the heart, the electrical flow through the heart, et cetera, and all of the blood from being sent back to the body. And then here, blood being sent to the lungs. Okay, just another look, what I was saying before about look how the lungs hug the heart. And it's really interesting that in your body, all the vessels, they branch out into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller vessels, just like a tree. And in your lungs, that happens too. In the lobes, they go from just small branching into the lungs, and they branch out and branch out and branch out until they're tiny little vessels that allow the exchange of oxygen gases from the atmosphere to then permeate into the lungs through a pressure gradient and then be taken up by the blood. So another fun look. I think this is some of the most important information that you could have, is really how your body is working to some degree. and just to understand that, but especially the inside of the vessel that is really necessary to take really good care of the mitochondria. The heart beats 100,000 times a day. It's been said to be the organ of the most selfless service because it never takes a break, and it pushes 5,000 gallons of blood through the body every 24 hours. It's insane. It's totally crazy, and we just take it for granted every single day. All right, so we're not going to go through too much of this. But again, the endocardium is the inside layer of the heart. And that's not only the endocardium of the heart, but the endothelium is the inside lining. You want to just keep your eye on that because that's the inside lining is where all the blood flow is. And you have to imagine it sort of like if you had a surface that is like really important to you and you have the surface on the inside lining of your vessels and you want to say, how can I best protect the surface? I guess it's like if you put a fresh coat of paint in your house and it looked really beautiful, you want to say, how can I protect this wall, right? And make sure that nothing gets on it, nothing damages this paint. That's how you want to think about the inside lining of your vessel. And so you want to think about the foods that you eat just as a more neutral example. When you have olive oil, which everybody thinks of as a health food, and you have it over time, it has the tendency of reducing the ability of that wall or that lining to push oxygen through your vessels. So that's why Caldwell Esselstyn says no free oil, because he knows it impairs that ability to push, to really perfuse well. It's hard to believe, but we just weren't meant to consume a lot of oils. So did we have anybody who wanted to volunteer? Oh, okay, Allison, okay, yeah, fantastic. Okay, yeah, let's actually work with you today. So thank you so much for volunteering. I'm going to put this up in just a moment here. And if there are any questions about the Genius, anything that you had questions about, don't forget to ask that too. Or if you have questions about the heart, you can ask that as well. We're going to go through some of the heart libraries and look at them in different aspects through cholesterol, high blood pressure, the mitral valve, and things like that. So you'll learn more about how to use this on your Genius, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead, we'll exit out of this. Now let me see if I can. So Allison, you get ready to join us in just a few moments. And I'm not seeing what I need to see here. Okay, I think we'll try to use it on from this Genius on here because I have all the libraries that I need. So we're going to use it from the Genius on here on my Mac. And again, if there are any other questions, something that you want to see or know about the Genius, something we haven't talked about in a while, you can actually ask that as well. Okay, got to clear out all this stuff here. You guys, some things are going to be changing about the Genius, and it's nothing actually that you're going to be noticing, but there's going to be a smaller, a very, very restricted version of the Genius now available in the Apple App Store. Have you guys heard of this? Has anybody heard this rumor or heard anything about this? I'm going to tell you about it if you haven't heard anything. All right, let me just get Allison's on here. All right. So you're going to be able to now download the Genius from the App Store. But within that, all right, I don't know why this is acting like this. Let's go ahead and create a new. All right. I just have to get all my ducks in a row on the Genius here. So the Genius, you're going to be able to now download the trial from the Apple App Store, but now you'll all have the full version because y'all paid for the full version. You'll be fine. But newbies will be able to download a very limited version, and they'll be able to then unlock certain things within the Genius when they want to. And I'm going to have a whole class on this because we still want people to refer to us personally so we can provide the best customer service and actually give them a lower price point than they're going to find in the App Store. So, but when they download the trial version, they'll have full access. But when they try to purchase it, they're going to have very limited access unless they get modules. And it'll still be less expensive for them to come through us, on the website, who've always given them lots of support. Now, like I said, we're going to learn more about this. It's not going to change anything that you're doing. You are all sort of grandfathered into your full version. And if you have referrals, they'll still be able to purchase it in the same way that you purchased it. It's just that a lot of people will look for it and they'll find it now on the website, in the App Store, and it'll give a lot more people access to it. So that's like going to be the main difference. But like I said, we're going to have a class to talk about this a little bit more. Okay, Allison, I'll invite you up here, promote you to a panelist here if you want to come and join us. So we'll have a lot more education about that coming up. So you won't be like left in the lurch or anything like that. We'll definitely, but you don't really need to do anything that you're not already doing. You can still send us clients our way and they can purchase in the same way. But now when the general public goes to look for it in the App Store, they'll be able to download it from there should they want to do that. I just started my trial. It ends in 7 days. Does that mean me? Gosh, Janet, you shouldn't have a trial ending in 7 days. For sure, get in touch with us. It should last 14 days. This has not launched in the App Store yet. You might be finding it in the Google Play Store. It's a little bit different. So it doesn't really apply to you at this point. You're in under the, deadline date. You've come in early enough. All right, well, let's find out how Allison is doing and talk a little bit about heart stuff. Oh, it's your 7th day. Yeah, you're fine. Nothing's going to change for you. Just keep doing what you're doing. In fact, you downloaded it from our enterprise link, which actually is going to stay the same. So people can still do it in the same way. Hey, Allison, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So tell us a little bit about this genetic issue.
Okay, well, high cholesterol runs in my family, so it doesn't really matter. It's very hard for me to keep my cholesterol levels as low as my doctor would like to see them.
What does
And
what does your doctor recommend that you get your LDL under what?
I oh let's see. I have an appointment with him at the end of the month, so at the end of May. So I'll find out because I actually during the pandemic I went off of the Crestor that I was on because I didn't really like the side effects. I wasn't on a high dose, but he likes the numbers really low, and I know I'm not there. So I'm trying to do things with diet and exercise if I can to try to avoid taking the medication.
Okay,
Um,
I understand that. Well, we don't know that what the limit was that, but they recommend a very low amount
yeah,
because they're trying to sell cholesterol medications. But the most amazing thing that I found out in my own practice was that when you go off Crestor or a statin, you get rebound hypertension. So you can actually get a higher level of not hypertension, you get rebound cholesterol, like your cholesterol levels can go up. It has something to do with maybe the receptors or something. So when you go off it, it can actually shoot up, which is really bizarre. And then you, as a client, a patient gets scared because your cholesterol is going up, but it's actually the effect of the drug. It's like they never want people to get off these drugs, and they have a good mechanism there with the rebound aspect of it. But so the question would be, when you've tried different things, and I understand about the familial hyperlipidemia, that is certainly a legitimate thing, and that may be the one sort of use case for a statin. But have you tried, and you're not obligated to do this, but have you tried sort of the plan that I've described, where you actually don't eat any dairy or meat or oils or anything that would have cholesterol in it?
no, I can tell you that I did not try that.
Okay, yeah, you may want to try our Detox and Nourish program. What I'll do is
Okay.
I'm gonna gift you access today for being a volunteer to our Detox and Nourish program. So you can read about it, learn about it, decide if it's something that you want to try. I know it will make a huge difference. It's maybe not make all the difference, but it'll make a huge difference and you will be absolutely blown away at it will tackle some of what you're looking for with the cholesterol issue. It'll be interesting just to find out how much progress you're able to make. Now, beyond that, it may be insurmountable with the familial hyperlipidemia, but you sure would be taking a lower dose of the statins. And I think that for somebody not like yourself, but the more general public, they're probably taking statins unknowingly, whereas they could, if they just chose to, they could change their food plan, not consume any cholesterol, because your body does make cholesterol, and you will see the cholesterol go down significantly in that most of the general population.
Thank you.
So with all that in mind, did you say something about a valve issue as well?
Yeah, I have a slight mitral valve prolapse.
Okay.
And I also have some calcium buildup. It's not a huge risk factor for me, according to when they do the heart scans, but I do have a little bit of that. So I'm not supposed to, my cardiologist just doesn't want me taking things like extra calcium and stuff like that.
Right. So the
Yeah.
calcium is from old scars that built up over time. And there was some like injury to the heart, and it could have been from a diet and stress and things like that. And then it calcifies over time. Now, the calcifications themselves are not really, you know, they're they're not really a risk factor per se, but yeah, you wouldn't want to build them up anymore, and you wouldn't want to have any more scars or injuries. But again, the detox and nourish plan can really protect you with that. And so you'll get to just review all of that and see if that's something that you're interested in. In the meantime, let's go ahead and we're going to record your voice and get your picture, and then we'll do some fun testing and get you some frequencies.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I'll go ahead and record your voice in three,
Mhm.
2, 1, I'm recording.
Allison Taylor, AEIOU, 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 AEIOU.
Perfect. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the next one here. Let's just see if we view all for a moment. I guess we could all ask the developer. It'd be fun for the developer to tell us some things about this voice report. There is a report where you can look at some of the information that comes through about the different numbers, and he calls the part in the right column, he calls them the formats. And I know there is some way to interpret this, but we don't have any access to it at the moment. But you can look at that if you ever want to look at it. Maybe somebody will make some heads or tails out of it. Then we'll advance here to the next screen. So now we're analyzing the voice scanning technology, a big part of the Genius, which is taking in all types of energetic information from Allison. Now we go to the picture. And so what I can do now is I can take the picture. I think, wait, oh, I know what I need to do. I will take a screenshot in just a moment here. So we will do that, and then I'll go ahead and get you to smile. I'm going to take the screenshot. Fantastic. So I work a little bit backwards here, and then we'll come back here, and then we'll put the screenshot on the screen in just a moment, and then I'll take a picture of that. So I don't know if any of you, does anybody on here use their Genius on their Mac? Maybe let me know. Do you use it on your laptop, or do you use it on your what about you, Allison? How do you use your Genius? Is it on your iPad?
Yeah, I use it on my iPad.
All right. So, and what kind of iPad are you using it on?
11 Pro.
And how's it working on there? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this now in our recents. It's going to come up here because I have to take or upload the photo. So now it's going to allow me to use an existing photo. Oh, I think this is where it's screwed up. It's got all of these other photos and it won't let me. All right. This is so frustrating. Did we have take a picture? That's going to take a picture of me, so that's not going to work. It's going to show me upside down. That's so funny. All right, I don't know how to rectify this, so I'm going to, maybe one more way I can do it if I just pull the camera around here, and then let's see, go back here to take a picture. So now the camera's facing here. Let's try it. I guess if I do it this way, I'll know it for next time, but then it's like upside down, so I'm going to turn the camera. This is pretty funny. And so what I had to do is I had to pull the camera off. I had to put it here, and then let's see if and then it switches it again. Isn't that funny?
Very odd.
Let's see if I do it the other way. This is pretty hilarious. This is like MacGyvering it. Take it, and now you're upside down here, and then we take it. Now it shows it. Isn't that hilarious? I don't know what Ryan needs to know about that, but that definitely could use some work. So now we have a great picture of you that we can use. Done, and begin the analysis. At least we got it done, right, Allison?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to figure it out. We had to jerry rig the whole system, but it worked out well. All right. Is there an affirmation that you can think of, or do you want me to try to come up with an affirmation with you?
Well, I heard one once that someone said on one of your classes, and it really struck a chord with me. So I don't know that I remembered it precisely, but it says, I say, every cell in my body vibrates with perfect health, vitality, and light.
Oh, I really like that.
And then
Every cell in my
yeah,
body vibrates with perfect health, vitality, and light. And I had my keyboard ready, so that I was able to do it pretty quickly. So when we do this
thank
affirmation,
you.
a lot of times I don't do it because we're focusing on other things. But when I do that, it'll actually take the energy of those words and play that frequency every time that we run some frequencies for Allison. It'll play it in the background. So that'll be fun. All right. So I'm going to work on
And
your
I'd like to thank
scan.
whoever.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'd like to thank whoever it was that said whatever that was what they use as an affirmation, because I co-opted it. So thank you.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all about, is sharing all of this information together. And then I'll let you just sit back and relax for a while, Allison. We'll definitely come back and talk with you in a bit, okay?
Perfect.
All right, thank you. Oops, I did it the other way. Just, you're fine. Don't just ignore what I just did. Okay, fantastic. So is there a difference between blood clot and calcified blood clots, and can they both be dissolved? So yeah, there was a previous injury that maybe like a plaque, something that was damaged to the vessel wall, kind of like um, with probably where there was the buildup of cholesterol, and then there was oxidation to the side of the vessel, and so creates like an injury that the body's immune system comes in and tries to heal. And the ultimate healing of that area in the vessel, which if you have more cholesterol, it's more likely to happen. That's why low cholesterol has been associated with, longevity. The body just was not, the development of the human body was not ready for the rise of the food industry and all of the wealth that we have in the Western world, where we have really easy access to rich foods. And so our vessels just can't really take it. And so the ultimate is that the buildup of that plaque, the buildup of the atherosclerosis, and it comes from an injury that eventually calcifies and it becomes like an old scar. And so you can see these old scars, often all over the body, but they're not currently creating any issues. And so you want to really just keep that in mind, because sometimes they use those old calcifications as a way to get people to have a stent or have some type of medical intervention for their heart. So it's something to keep in mind, that those calcifications can stay quiescent, non-active for a long time. But you don't want to develop more. So adopt the starch-centered plan that I describe in my detox and nourish class. And it's really been, people who have taken that course have really been pleasantly surprised at the information that they've discovered. Has been a real eye-opener for them. All right, so let's go ahead and analyze the aura and see what's going on with the aura on our screen here. And so the aura is a beginning way that we get some basic information about the person's energetic state. So the first thing that I look at here is it seems like a little bit of deficiency. So we don't see the vibrancy of color. So this would mean maybe a little bit of fatigue, or didn't sleep well, or just adrenal, or maybe even blood, blood chi deficiency. So then we also can hide the avatar. So let me see if I can get a little screenshot here. I take a screenshot here, and then I can hide the avatar, and then we can see it here. And so still the same thing, sort of muted, sort of the same feel that we get. Now we do have some heart chakra energy in there, and we have some blue sort of sixth chakra energy coming in. I mean, that's maybe more throat chakra. And then this sort of brown is more like maybe the emotional things that are going on. And we want that to change. And we also don't want the blurriness of it. We want it to have more crisp and tight edges. And we're going to see if we can see that as well. So we both did the hide the avatar, show the avatar. I was like, I always like the show the avatar, but I wish it was smaller. And for heaven's sake, I wish it was centered. So you can really see in this something that maybe you can write to the developer and ask him to do. You can just see, does this look centered to you? No, there's way more of color over here. And so why can we not just get somebody to make that a little bit centered? That would be my wish there. All that being said, we have a good starter to know where we're starting from. We do see some interesting things here. We see some electrical sensitivities, body systems, vitamins, digestion, chemical sensitivities, minerals. So of these, I'd be kind of curious to see what the electrical sensitivities are. So maybe in general, she's sort of EMF sensitive. That's what we're kind of maybe coming away with. And then what are the chemical sensitivities? Seeing some gasoline. So if you pump your own gas, you can get exposed to the smells of the gasoline, even though it's supposed to protect you from that. And organophosphates, that's going to be the things that are in different types of fruits and vegetables. So if we don't always eat organic, although I've heard that the USDA organic allows a certain amount of pesticides. If anybody has an article or citation on that, crazy, that's called organic, but since the USDA took over organic some 15 years ago, now it's not really organic. Sounds like the government, sounds about right. Then we have some herbicides, paint fumes, cigarette smoke. This could be from maybe years ago or just passing secondhand. And then solvents. So solvents are things like when you're painting, you get exposed to solvents, and it could also be the solvents from the gasoline. So kind of interesting. And we could take the top blue and the top red. Now, recently I did hear from somebody who likes to put every single blue and every single red into the tray from the entire program. And so they end up having like 1,000 items in the tray. Now, we don't really tell people here it's wrong to do this or it's right to do this. We've kind of allowed people over the years to find the vibe of using the Genius that works for them. But when I did speak with the developer, when I did speak with Ryan, he said that his feeling is even when you play more than 100 items in the tray, that you begin to get a distortion of the clarity of those frequencies. So you don't get as clear a message from those combined frequencies as you would like. And I really still think the sweet spot is probably 30 to 50, but I understand that we all often want to use more. I often use more in that main whole tray, and then I sort of slim it down as I go into the high items. I do like to cast a wide net, as you've often seen me working with 80 to 100 items, and then it's going to become slimmed down as I get into the actual balancing. I'll just be looking and working with those high items. So let me close the tray here. Let's see if there's anything else that's interesting. And I'm going to kind of go a little bit faster here because we want to get to what we want to get to. So let's go right to our heart libraries and look at them. I especially want to look at the new one that we just sent to our library discount club members. If we start the nutrition class now, how do we get access to the previous ones and the class discussions? How long is each class? Each class is 1 hour to 90 minutes, and you absolutely get the recording. Actually get evergreen access to the recording. And I've also included notes so that you can read through the notes as I'm doing the lecture. So you can log in and see all the previous classes that we've done. We still have another live class, plus we're going to be doing a bonus class. So we have 2 more live classes that you can join. And I think this is something you are going to want to review several times. But when you get this information about what this does for your blood sugar, what it does for your weight, and we talked about calorie density. And I realized when I talked about calorie density, it not only gives people like a secret magic ability to finally lose weight, because the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And when we talk about calorie density, we learn that foods like potatoes and sweet potatoes have a way lower calorie density, something like 400 to 500 calories per pound. And then you just look at things like almonds or walnuts, they have a calorie density of 2,800 calories per pound. And in the class, we reviewed the work of Barbara Rolls, who wrote the book Volumetrics, and she found out that we eat about the same amount in weight every day. So if you eat 3 to 4 pounds of food every day, no matter what the food is, then the little bit of wiggle room that you have is in the type of volume of the food. And so when you eat foods that are lower in calorie density, you're going to get full, your stomach's going to get full, you're going to trigger the stretch receptors, you're going to begin to slim down. And that is not just important for appearance, that's great. We all want to be slender. It's actually the biggest predictor of whether you're going to stay healthy or get sick, whether you're going to get heart disease, diabetes, cancer, other things, is our ability to maintain a healthy weight. But if you follow the guidelines today of, eat some avocados for good fat, or eat some walnuts, or eat some, chicken for your protein, which you also don't need, you're going to be fat forever, because all of those foods, the fat you eat, the fat you wear. And so they're giving you nutritional advice that sets you up for failure. And that's why I'm happy to bring people the information from our course. I just think it's life-changing, and the people who've been in the course have been really blown away by the information. So I hope you do join, Tammy. It'd be great to have you. Okay, so let's look at this. We have a new library called Heart Coherence. And I wanted to take this up because of the thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. And that particular thing is giving us a lot of this stuff and a lot of inflammatory issues. And so this library sort of brings together some of the concept that we talked about today. So let's go ahead. Disease and unknown situations now completely move into resolution. This is a Grabovoi code. I lovingly allow join to flow. I think I'm gonna have to change this a little bit. I allow this to, it's supposed to be love, and I think it's spell corrected me. I lovingly allow love to flow through my mind and body and experience. Now there's spell correct inside the library creation module where you create libraries, and sometimes it doesn't do what you want to do. So that should be love, and I will correct that. Any harmful effect to the heart caused by any injection, including is now completely disarmed and made inactive and cannot exert any negative effects on the heart. Then this is an artery. The carotid artery is now cleared from any plaque or disruptions of flow. All circulation is functioning at the optimal rate. And then there's some Grabovoi numbers for that particular issue. This is the artery, the capillaries, etc. I bring joy back to the center of my heart. I'm willing to bring love to each situation in my life. Clear any calcifications. That's a good one for you, Allison, to use. This is a Rife number that I've programmed into the library. Left ventricle, the principle of levity is alive and well. That's the principle of how do we get, this is the coherence that's in our body that actually brings the energy up, that actually allows the blood to flow up, which is against gravity. All right, go to cola. All the water in my body is perfectly structured water. All the blood in my body is perfectly structured blood, because we want it to be structured so it flows correctly. My heart is relaxed and moves into a place of harmonious order, connectedness, stability, and efficient use of energy. I now take the time to relax and breathe with the understanding that a balanced nervous system is my best prevention against any disease of the heart. Let's make sure we get all the reds there. Let's look at the blues. And so what are the arteries? So when you have an anatomical part, it's actually sending harmonious energy to the left anterior descending artery. I now experience rapid health recovery on every level. That's a Grabovoi number. And Grabovoi came up with all these really interesting number combinations that have great power, and we've programmed them in as archetype encoding. L-arginine helps to perfuse, helps the perfusion of blood. Any edema due to poor circulation is now clearing. My healthy nervous system assists in the regeneration of circulation. The heart is now balanced. The endocardium of the heart is now restored to perfect function. That's the inside of the heart. Pycnogenol is a great antioxidant for the heart. And now increase the tonic activity of the parasympathetic nervous system in order to bring balance and wellness to my heart. Any spike protein affecting my heart is completely inactivated and made null and unable to exert any harmful influence in my body. Lumbrokinase, which is a type of enzyme that helps to thin the blood. Lumbrokinase for healthy blood viscosity, thinning the blood when needed and preventing clotting. Complete restoration of full heart and circulatory function through balancing the bioenergy of the body. Optimize the function of the mitral valve. Oh, that's interesting that it came up for her, isn't it? So let's take all of those into the tray. Now we have 58 items in the tray. So let's go ahead and just look at some of the other ones. Now these are all 40% off, but many of you have a lot of these libraries from, they might have come with your starter package or the package that you started with. And so let's go ahead and look at the heart health assessment. And it says there's been some toxicity exposure. So that goes hand in hand with what we saw of the chemical sensitivities. Coenzyme Q10 deficiency. If you take Crestor, it really would behoove you to look into the possibility of taking coenzyme Q10 as a supplement, but research it online. You'll find articles about this. High homocysteine, hypertension due to kidney stress, HDL cholesterol, oxidative damage, a valve issue. Wow, that's amazing. These are the things that she mentioned. Vitamin E. You might look into mixed tocopherols, which are natural from rice, actually. The rice bran that bring you the vitamin E that helps your heart, but in a more healthy, natural, food-based way. All right, nitric oxide, really interesting, says methylation. And then there's this great one about the Broken Heart Healing Program. So who of us have not had a heartbreak in our life? So this is related to the energy of the heart as well. Easily solve the problems, forgiveness, create a state of relaxation, release the past. I'm ready for new beginnings. Life can be joyous. Life has perfect timing. Just a happiness generator, a frequency that helps you to feel happy. And then let's get one more in here. I don't know if you know about this one called circulation transformation. This is meant to clean up the lining of the heart that I've been talking about. So this is great for that purpose. I'm just going to do this quickly so we can get some results here. Now, don't forget I've used like these different heart libraries, but we always want to go back and what do we want to make sure we include? The Bach flower essences. So I want to bring in these Bach flower essences, but I'm not going to look at them here. I'm going to look at them in Progressive Insights. So now let's just go ahead and check me there. I had 140 items in the tray. Let's go ahead and see when we go into Progressive Insights and we see which ones are the ones that come up high. Should be less than should be like maybe 30 or 40, but let's see. A lot of them came up high. But I would just estimate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Just down to the bottom looks like maybe 25. And I'm going to say it's probably 40 to 45. So that would be fine, like to export to the capsule. And Allison, make sure you send me your QuantaCapsule address if you have it. So Aspen, is Aspen also about wanting to forgive? The vortex of the heart heals. Let's go ahead and get this balancing. Great animations for the new version of the Genius. So one of the more recent updates. Sorry about that. Oh gosh, I hope we can bring this back. All right, there we go. So I love these new visual animations are nice. The vortex of the heart heals. Any spike protein affecting my heart is completely inactivated. That could be from also just shedding, people that you're running into or people that are close to you, if that wasn't something that you partook of, if you know what I mean. And then we're going to look at Aspen in just a moment here. I can get my book open to look at it. I don't know why Aspen. Oh, there it is. Aspen is a remedy for unknown fears. Yeah, so it's about fears, similar to Mimulus. I guess Mimulus is known fears. Complete respiration of full heart and circulatory function, balancing the bioenergy of the body. I now allow the tonic activity of this. So you may want to think about more meditation. Look into heart math as something that you may want to study. Okay, now I'm quickly going to do a rescan. Can't tell you how important rescan is. This would be an interesting gene to look up, this LAF4IR. I'm going to take a screenshot of it. When I wrote this library, I had something in mind here that this particular expression of this gene is actually a good thing, and it helps you to actually repair the endothelium. I just want to go ahead and it does say atherosclerosis reversal and clearing. So let's go ahead and rescan. Let's see what comes up. And let's see if there's another flower essence. And then we'll quickly get to a conclusion because we're going to look at the progressed aura. Prostacyclin for vasodilation optimized. So there might be some impairment of perfusion here. Microcirculation optimized. Life has perfect timing. Mangosteen. Olive. Olive comes up pretty often for our group here. Olive is about exhaustion. Olive is a remedy for long-term exhaustion, and it helps you to feel more energized and to feel regenerated by basically running the remedy or taking the physical remedy. Well, I love these new visuals that we have here. Go to cola, lumbrokinase, which is about thinning the blood, and more proteolytic. So you may want to look into proteolytic enzymes. Again, this is not a medical recommendation, but something that you could look at and consider for yourself. The energy of forgiveness, proper regulation of endothelial function. My heart is relaxed. That came up again. Connect to inner guidance to move forward. Oxygenation now for complete cellular health. Watching where the Wi-Fi is. I saw somebody recently in their home, in their sleeping area, which is also their work area, they had their router. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is not good. So you don't want your router in your bedroom. You want it as far away on the other side of the house as you can. Easy to problem solve. I see the solution. I am courageous. Capillaries, wild rose. All right, let's see where we are at the end. So wild rose is drifting and resignation. So it's overcoming this feeling of, I don't know if this will get better. Wild rose is a remedy for long-term exhaustion and resignation. So there's a theme there of oak and wild rose being about exhaustion. So we may need some adrenal support or some adaptogens. So you could add in the library, the adaptogen library for this, for a client like this. And we did have a good response. So we have good energy flow. We went to 62% rectification. Let's go ahead back here. So at the end of every session, I always like to do a progressed aura. So let's go ahead and do another aura check and see what we've got, see what the difference is. I'll see if I can pull up the original one that we just looked at. So let's see if I can find it here. Look at the one with the actual avatar in it. And I don't know why this seems like a long time to run the aura. I think about it previously as it seemed faster. Okay, guys, it's going to be worth it. You're going to be happy that you stuck around till the end, because look at the difference in the auras, you guys. This is something that's so important. You want to send these to your client because they tell the whole story. I mean, look at the difference of this brown turning to this like almost like, giggly kind of childlike, this beautiful pink color, so playful, so happy. And it's a little less fuzzy than it was, but it's the brown that really transformed. And then this beautiful heart healing energy. Orange showing the reignition of the vitality of the body, and also second chakra being really about creativity. Let's go ahead and hide the aura. And purple being that higher energy. That definitely is sixth chakra energy, and it's looking really amazing. So fantastic. Let's bring our volunteer back on. We will get you that detox and nourish class as well. So Allison, what were your thoughts? I may have messed that up. Wait, hang on. I may have muted you at the same time you unmuted. So try one more time.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
amazed
you're good.
at the difference. And all of the things that came up, I mean, those were a lot of the things that we talked about my valves and everything else. So it's really clear to me that it's identifying the issues. And I'm interested in that heart coherence library. It just seemed like everything you were coming up with, it just rung really true. Even the exhaustion and the forgiveness and all that stuff, it really rang true. So I'm so excited to see the difference. And I can't wait to run this some more on my own. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of that will be in your capsule. Did you say you had a quanta capsule?
Yes, I'll send you the.
Okay, good. So
should I do that in the chat?
You can do that in the chat. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can do that while we're sort of wrapping up here. So really great result. And Allison, I'll let you just sit back and relax here. But thank you so much for volunteering. I'm so grateful we got to work with you.
Thank you.
Really cool. Yeah, that's ended up being a great case to talk about. And like I said today at geniusbiofeedback.com, we do have some, let me see if I can bring this up here. We do have some new things kind of going on the website, just some new ways of talking about the genius, and we have some new forms. And see, we have this new form for the demonstration, which is kind of cool. We kind of switched our systems around a little bit, but you can see on the website itself, geniusbiofeedback.com, you can see we actually have a new way of signing up for the affiliate program. So check that out. It's going to have a new dashboard through our Kajabi system. And you can be a member of both. Eventually, you're going to switch over to the system. So check it out, everybody who wants to refer people. It's a really cool system that allows you to see more things in your dashboard as the sales develop. So I think you're really going to like that. And then use Heart 40 for 40%. Any of these are going to be right here, and we're going to include, I'm going to ask my assistant to go ahead and add the course, because we have an excellent course on heart health, and all of that will be 40% off, so you can get those, and even that new library that we're doing, you can get it at the 40% off as well. We'll add that, so if that's something that you're interested in for the next, usually we do it until the end of the week, so probably till Friday, we'll make that available. So check it out at geniusbiofeedback.com. And then I just wanted to show right here, once again, that we have the before and after for the class today, which is really tremendous. And we're going to be back here. Okay, let me do this final thing here as I'm talking. So we're going to be back here next week on Tuesday at noon, which is going to be 3 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central time. We're going to keep that for a while. So put that on your calendar for Tuesdays at this time. I really hope to see you. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to get the high items, and then I'm going to export to the capsule. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully paste this right here. And then I'm going to, oh, I hate when it does that. I didn't mean to do that. All we have to do is add it here. Somehow it's counterintuitive. And then I go ahead and I export it, and that code is going to get sent to her. If I wanted to do a second one, just so you know, the second one that comes, this could actually, I could send all of them. So I don't usually, oh, why is it not? I kept doing that, I did that again. So I have to do it like this. So now it's going to highlight all of them. But my favorite is really to send the high items. But sometimes people want all of them, or it might be a little addition that you get or give to them. It's also taking more time. Somehow when you do all from the export to capsule, it doesn't work. So I might export, so the first export or playlist that you get, Allison, that you see, might be seeing it right now, that will just be the high items. But if you want to look at all of them or play all of them, so then what I have to usually do is go to this tray, and then it doesn't matter. If you go from this tray, it's going to export all of them automatically. So then you could go from here, and I have to do this again, and then add it, and now it's exported. All right, great class, everybody. Thank you all for your participation. We'll be back next week at the same time. Have a great rest of your week. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye for now.